Good, everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So, what I'm going to do today, right? This is pretty much going to be we are almost near the end of the Experience Cloud series. So, I thought I might talk about the site limitations and license limitation, which you should know as an experienced site builder. So, I thought I might as well teach you guys from the help, right? Rather than I'm putting a slide and just copy pasting it, right? The first thing first, right? As you can see from the screen, if you have a site which is created, let's say an old site which was created before Spring 16, you can't really use the lookup field on a custom object, which is um, not really great in today's time, right? So that's one of the limitations. So if you ever encounter this, then this is the reason. So then another thing they talked about, experience builder side user saves an opportunity. They are not prompted to add product. So, normally when you wanted to save an opportunity, you get the prompt, right? Even when the prompt user to add product is enabled. Um, so, um, so you might get the scenario where you wanted to do this functionality, even though you say, hey, I've ticked this option, right, where I can prompt the user to add product. But when it comes to experience side, only the user uh, inside built with tabs and visual force are prompted to add products. So just remember that, right? For the multilingual sites, right, you have an option to choose different languages. So the login language will always appear in a default language. If your default language is English and if you're expecting to see in German, then you can't do that. Then you have to use a custom visual force page, right? And the Google capture, which is mostly done for the security reason, it will not work if you don't enable when you have access to web traffic is allowed, right? So just one other thing. So also they said that create new option for lookups isn't supported for customer service sites. Also, only authenticated external users can access asset lookup field. Makes sense, right? Um, So, and yeah, this one thing, right? If you're a guest user, right, sometimes the case validation won't work, right? When a case is submitted through the contact support component. So if you have a validation in place and someone submitted a case using the contact support component, and you must be wondering, hey, why the validation is not working? That's because of this. It's not supported. Um, so validation runs once a submission is processed in the queue. So just remember that. Okay, so now that's the general limitation, right? Now we got some partner sites, like the partner central does not support the language selector, which is okay, I guess. To support your sales data, we disable greater users. There, this is more applicable if you're using a partner site. I just recommend you guys to read through it. Um, the chances of Salesforce asking you this question could vary, right? It depends. You might get asked, right? Because Experience Cloud is a broader a topic, so things can get added. So you might get asked, right? So if they say, "Can you export a site built uh, on on a partner central as a lightning bolt solution?" So answer to the question is no. So that's what it says, right? You can't export the sites built. You can export individual pages, but not the entire site. So you might get, a true or false answer. So you should know, right? You can't really export the entire solution. And then also you can read that the Partner Central does not provide out-of-box self-service customer support feature like navigation topics, articles, and search publisher. So you might say, hey, you might get a true or false with this as a partner service supports out-of-box functionality. Like, so the answer to that, if that's the case, then you should put false. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at the more browser limitation. Mobile device using BlackBerry. I don't know who uses BlackBerry. I remember back in the days when I started programming career, BlackBerry was popular, right? 2008, 2007, right? When I started my career, so I I kind of remember that BlackBerry was very famous. Windows operating system I still used 2014. I think I bought a cheap Nokia phone with Windows operating system. The reason why I bought that phone, I remember, because of the camera. It was like, what was this, 41 megapixel or something? It just I used mostly for the camera, so it was pretty good. I used for 2 years. So yeah, I presume no one will be using that. But if you have an old Windows phone, right, which is still functional, so yeah, it won't work with Experience Cloud. Um, so the mobile users who performs a pinch zoom gestures will zoom into the center of image and not specific area of the. It's like when you want to zoom, right? So if you wanted to pre zoom in, right, it will zoom into the center of the image, not into the specific area. So right. So some like if you want, you can only do that with iPhones, right? If you want to zoom a picture, you can zoom into the specific area. So but that doesn't work here, right? Only the latest version are supported, which is pretty cool, right? Makes sense. You always get a browser up there. Like I'm using Ubuntu, right? I use Chrome. I installed Chrome in Ubuntu, though I can use Firefox, right? But I've been more comfortable using Chrome. Um, so yeah, it often give me an option to upgrade it because it gets a notification here. Your browser is out of date. So I just go to the command prompt and just do sudo apt upgrade, right? And then yeah, it just does the job for me. So okay, let's look at the cloud license limitation. The thing is that the one thing I really uh, find it very interesting that people don't really talk about license, right? And if you're a developer or if you're an architect, you should talk about the license. It's important, right? You cannot sell a product to a customer without actually talking about the license. That sounds a bit silly to me at the end of the day, right? And you should always consider license, right? Like for instance, if I wanted to buy a product, I would ask how much it costs. Like, what's the licensing model? If you can't explain to me, then I won't buy it, right? It's that simple. So okay, so I'm just gonna go through, just the higher level stuff, right? Not much, a few things here and there, right? For instance, okay, um, user with community and portal license. Okay, let's say you're a user got community portal license, you can't create or update email templates, which is good to know, right? Your customer might ask, hey, I got a few users, right, who got portal license and they wanted to update email templates. Is that possible? If you have no understanding of the licensing model, if you say it's possible, which is not really great. So remember that, okay? And customer community license supports sharing set, but not the sharing rules, okay? So yeah, if you wanted to do the sharing rules, you can't do that using custom community license, right? You can do sharing set. The custom user with the following license can't update case status in communities built on Salesforce tab. So all of this, belonging to this customer community, how all important the user, you can't really update the case, right? Okay, so the user with partner community license must be associated with the business account that is enabled as a partner account. Make total sense, right? It's a simple English written. Partner users can't be associated with a person account. Okay, so just remember, you might get a question. Okay, can partner user be associated with a person account? The answer is no. All right, user with partner community license can't access the codes tab in Experience Cloud using Salesforce tabs. And okay, that's cool. You can access the codes tab. Enable notification for site is on read only and can't be changed for the partner community profile. So just read it. I mean, it's useful for you guys to read it. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this, so that you don't tell me that hey, this guy didn't never even mention anything about the limitation about the licensing. So I'm mentioning it now, and I expect you to go and read from the help documentation, and I'll put the link in the description below. Don't worry about it. Just go through it, okay? It's important because you can't go and sit in an exam. You might pause it, but then uh, if you go to an implementation partner, if you go to consult as a consultant to custom place, they expect you to know these kind of things, right? So that's pretty much I wanted to talk about it. I think maybe we got one or two topic, then we're pretty much done. And then you guys are good to go and take the certification if you've been following along and if you've been practicing from the trailhead, right? I do, what happens. Sometimes people do reach out to me and say, "Hey, is your course enough?" I tell them straight away, right? You need to do your own, reading. and you need to do your own hands-on. Just by watching the videos, you cannot pass the certification. You need hands-on experience, guys. You need to know how to build a site. You need to know what challenges you face. You need to know the requirement, right? You should do super badge if there is one. I often say it to people: for any certification, you got to do super badge. If you don't have real life experience implementing this stuff, right? If you have lots of experience, then it's okay. You're getting, hands-on experience at your workplace. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in today's episode. Hope you guys have an amazing Wednesday. Adios.